Sorry, I'm late. I just dropped off my brother at school, and there's this guy. This man dropped off his son, and his son legit mouth kissed him on the lips, dude. On the lips. Can you imagine that? I was like, what? Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Or if it's your first time, welcome. This is the show where we just explore the mind of an absolute lunatic. And that's me. And if you don't believe I'm a lunatic, go watch the other episodes and just watch someone not be able to maintain a constant stream of thought. Just constantly distracted. What's that? What's that? I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Where am I going? Where am I? Where am I from? Just overwhelming stream of consciousness, multiple streams of consciousness, really, trying to convert it into streams of income, rather, you know what I mean? But, anyways, if you're new to the show, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Every little bit helps. And I think if you enjoy this, if you think other people will enjoy it, please share it far and wide. You can listen to the show on Spotify as well. But welcome to the show in which I can explore myself, and I can be myself. It's so weird. Like I feel this is one of the few places, one of the few opportunities I have to actually be myself, and that's it's okay. It's a bit of a curious thing because I feel as though I'm too much. Sometimes I feel as though I'm maybe too much to my fellow people, my fellow human beings, and that's concerning. Really, it is concerning because maybe I am too much. I know that I can be, and it's just like because it's so much energy, that the people around you feel tired, and I guess all I do, like in public, in most social settings, you just have to kind of dial it down. But I don't want to dial it down. I want to be myself. I want to be like this. I want to, if I want to go, then I can do that, without people getting disturbed or annoyed or irritated. And I don't want to create negative feelings in people. I want to entertain. I want to make you laugh. I want you to approve of me, And that's just approval-seeking behavior. And maybe that's a normal thing to do. It's so weird because I don't bother myself or concern myself with the opinions of others. I don't at all. I think that it's a exercise in futility, to want to constantly think that, sorry for fiddling, to constantly think that people's opinions are important. They're not. If you just look at what everybody finds impressive or finds entertaining or finds applause worthy, like if you see what makes people clap and what makes them excited, you'd be like, that's so lame. Your approval means nothing to me, and yet I seek it. That's a curious thing, isn't it? Isn't that curious? So I wonder because, like, even in my attempts at humor, to share some, funny little experience that I've had is really, it's really like, it's me trying to, it's just me trying to get your approval. And laughter is, like, I think one of the most solid forms of approval. Once you make someone laugh, oh my word, the payback is huge, in terms of approval, basically. But yeah, that's just part of me being an absolute maniac. It's just not caring what people think, but at the same time seeking their approval constantly. It's super weird. Hopefully I'll grow into a place in my life where I actually don't care. And believe it or not, this show, yes, part of it is for me to want to entertain. But for the most part, it's just about me having the opportunity to be myself, which is what I'm getting at, actually. This is a place where I can just be me, And very few people get to experience it. So this is just a window into into how it might be to hang out with me. You know, you might get a very rare chance to speak. you know, and I know like my friends, they have the permission. You know, the few friends that I have, the few people that are close to me that I consider, family or almost family. They're the only ones that have the permission to say, "Hey, man, you're being too much," because they're the only ones that have the privilege of seeing fully who I am, and they get to experience my personality, at full blast. And it really is full blast, and it is a blast, you know, for many. But yeah, so anyways, welcome to the show. And I thought, we'd get into a couple things. But yeah, so yesterday, oh my word, yesterday I went to go and vote. And it was insane how long you stand in a line, like we get there, this is like close to lunch, and I realize, oh, we should have actually eaten lunch first. Somebody else like, no, 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 you go and get KFC. That's actually not how my dad speaks, but anyways, you go and get KFC, my child, because my dad is Mufasa. And then we go, and me and my sister wanted to come with. She's not, you know old enough to vote, but she just wanted to check it out to see what it's all about. And she got bored like 5 minutes in, and then at some point we had to take her home. But we went to go get some food, came back, and then the line had not moved, dude. Like my dad stayed in the line. I went with my sister to go get food. We came back, and our order took a while, So it's like we get back, and then he's standing in the exact same place. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a long day, because I was actually planning on filming the episode yesterday. Wednesdays is part of my schedule when it comes to creating this content, is that on Wednesdays I'd like to film, and then Thursdays edit and then upload, and then it will automatically post on Friday. So yeah, so I wanted to do it yesterday, and I actually wanted to get into a nice little pre-voting scenario, but that did not, or even a post-voting debriefing, but that didn't happen. So I guess we can do it now anyways. But yeah, what an interesting thing that's going on with the voting. I've been keeping track a little bit of the progress of them counting the votes, and so far one thing is clear to me, that the moral and ethical decision is completely suppressed by loyalty, you know? And while I can respect loyalty, I do believe that at some point you need to like make better decisions. And unfortunately, based on what I've seen so far, once again, we will have a majority ANC parliament, which means a majority ANC government, which means that whatever decisions they will have is going to be passed through, because they have the majority in parliament. So when it comes to voting for certain decisions to happen, certain laws to be passed, they will have the power to do that because they have the majority. And it is unfortunate, because I really thought that we'd have change. I really thought that everybody would have come to their senses by now. I think a party that has been in charge for the past 30 years, and it has been 30 years. They've been in power for 30 years, and has, done some good for sure, but really spoiled it, you know? Because on an ideological level, the nationalism that the ANC represents has benefits and fits really not perfectly well. It fits into what our country can become, you know. But so I think their failure has not been on an ideological level. It's not about their belief, which means it's not actually that deep, you know. The ANC in general, I believe that we would all be happy with the ANC in charge if they had just continued on the right track of doing the right things, you know. taking care of housing. That's one of the biggest problems in our country. Maintaining our utilities and developing our infrastructure even more. More water for everybody. If I open my tap, I can't. Unfortunately, I cannot drink the tap water. That's that's how that's how bad it is. The fact that the 3 weeks, 4 weeks leading up to the elections, the for some reason we haven't had any load shedding. And if you are someone who's not from South Africa, load shedding in South Africa was a or has been a thing for many years now, where the power would be off for 2 hours a day, maybe 2 hours at a time, twice a day, and it and that's just in your area. So for example, if you're at work and the power is off for the next 2 hours or 2.5 hours, you will not have any electricity until the power comes back on, so that they don't overload the grid. So clearly there's a need for the development of infrastructure, the not just the maintenance of it, because you can maintain something until it's there's nothing left. So you have to constantly be improving systems and making them more efficient, because that's, I would say, when it comes to improving something, that's the main focus of improvement, is efficiency. you know so yeah, so we live unfortunately in a country where the ruling party has kind of messed that up. They have failed to house everybody over the last 30 years. They have failed to maintain our utilities like water and electricity. They have failed to do things successfully, even at the local level, even at the municipal level. So that's concerning. But I did a little analysis. Me and my best friend ChatGPT. I just did a little fun exercise. Let me just bring this okay closer. Yeah. So I'm just gonna read it to you. The issues facing the African National Congress in South Africa is not necessarily tied to its core philosophy as a nationalist party. See, my question was, sorry, no, I'm reading the wrong part here. I needed to scroll up. But what I asked is, what is the issue with the African National Congress being the ruling party of South Africa? Which I think is a fair question. And ChatGPT, being the language model that it is, being able to provide me with a proper analysis of things, especially since ChatGPT was updated recently. So I feel like it's it's not a source of information, but it's a nice tool to have a discussion with. And hopefully one day I can actually have someone who's schooled in politics to go through these things with me. But let me just read this here for you. The African National Congress, which has been the ruling party of South Africa since the end of apartheid in 1994, so that's 30 years ago, faces several issues that impact its governance and the perception of its leadership. So perception is obviously a very important aspect of leadership. How you are perceived as a leader tends to be how effective your leadership is. So these issues include, so here's the list of issues. Number one, corruption. That's the biggest one. That is something that I'm sure I don't need to explain to you if you're not from South Africa. It's just that we have a seriously big corruption issue in our country. But anyways, so the first one, corruption. Corruption has been a significant problem within the ANC. High-profile scandals such as those involving former President Jacob Zuma and the controversial Gupta family have eroded public trust in the party. So that's probably the catalyst for a lot of these other parties gaining popularity. The state capture inquiry highlighted extensive corruption where state resources were misappropriated by ANC officials and their associates. So that's obviously, wow, that should have been the smoking gun actually. The ANC party is involved in widespread misappropriation of state funds and state resources. They are allowing their associates to benefit as well. What about the people who voted for you to stay in power? What about them? Have you looked after them? No, you haven't. Oh, okay. So we should vote for them again. You see what I mean? What? Why? Okay, second point, the economic challenges. South Africa's economy has struggled with high employment rates, slow growth, and significant inequality. The ANC faced criticism for its handling of the economy, with some arguing that its policies have not effectively addressed these deep rooted issues. Economic mismanagement and lack of an effective policy implementation have contributed to the stagnation. So I was discussing something with a government employee, actually, someone who's close to me. So what she said was that if you go and read the, what is it called, the National Development Plan, if you read the National Development Plan that was drawn up quite some time ago, it is an incredible plan, right? So it was a plan designed to improve our economic situation, to solve the housing crisis, to solve the electricity crisis, to solve the problem of poisonous water that we drink. Um, it was supposed to help alleviate poverty in a big way, create jobs. But the implementation is where the flaw lies, right? So the biggest part of what I'm reading here about the economic challenges that the ANC has faced is that they actually have not physically tackled those problems, you know? And you know what I would do? And maybe you can vote for me next time. But yeah, please don't. I do not want to be president. I also think, like, and I'm getting so off track here, but it's okay. This is the politics episode. Anyways, so I think that if I wanted to solve a problem within my country, right, I would bring in some of the country's top experts in that certain field, or a combination of different types of experts, put them together in a room and say, here's our problem, guys. Please, first of all, make sure that this is our problem, and analyze the problem as much as you can based on your expertise, and please come up with possible solutions for us to implement so that we can see if we can solve this problem. That doesn't happen. And the times that it has happened, it wasn't implemented. But it's okay. Let's vote for them again. All right, we move on. Service delivery, that's the third point here. There have been widespread complaints about the ANC's ability to deliver basic services. Basic services, right? And I'll give you this. How are those people living? How are the ANC officials living? Government officials that are affiliated with the ANC. Are they living in shacks? Are they, users of public transport? Does their power also go off when it's load shedding? Do they have to buy bottled water? Just think about that. But let's vote for them. Anyways, basic services such as housing, healthcare, and education. Inadequate service delivery has led to frequent protests and a sense of dissatisfaction among the populace, particularly in poorer communities. So here's the crazy thing. It's the poorer communities that suffer the most, There's a saying that goes, if the rich sneeze, the poor have COVID. It's not that. If the rich sneeze, or is it if the rich have a cold, the poor have pneumonia? Something like that. Which basically just means that however bad a situation is for the wealthy, or even for the middle class, it is 1,000 times worse. Sorry. It is 1,000 times worse for the poorest of the poor. But okay, vote for the ANC. Fantastic. Let's move on. Internal factionalism, and this is the part where I love, because even within the ANC, there are people like, you guys are insane for stealing so much money and not actually taking care of the country that we lead. The ANC has experienced significant internal divisions and factionalism, which have undermined its effectiveness and cohesion. Power struggles within the party have often spilled over into public view, leading to political instability and distracting from governance. Right? I already think that they're distracting themselves anyways from governance. They're not focused on governing this country. They're focused on filling their pockets. And unfortunately, it's a popular opinion, and I'm not a fan of popular opinions anyways because I like to have my own spin on things. So here's my take. The reason why there are divisions within the ANC, for example, is because there are those that are in there who are good agents. There are those in there who believe that the ANC is capable of doing so much good for the benefit of this country, who are capable of bringing us to a more stable economic state, a more stable political state, one that is free from corruption. Not free from corruption. I don't think you can ever get rid of corruption because that's like saying, no, we'll get rid of crime. There's no way. There will be crime. However, there are people there that are working so hard fighting the system, and they are the ones who are suffering the most. And those are the people that I even pray for them. It's crazy to pray for people who are actually trying to do good in the world, but get knocked down at every opportunity. And if you're out there and you're trying really hard to get this thing going, to push it off the ground, I'm praying for you. I hope that you are successful in your endeavor. But yeah, so I think the reason why there's these divisions is because there's a lot of people within the ANC who are thinking like, I got into this gig wanting to do good. I'm not here to line my pockets. I'm not here to ignore the cries, the screams, the needs of my people. I'm not going to ignore that. My people being the South African people, by the way. Yeah, but we'll get into. There was something I wanted to say about that, specifically about that, where the issue with nationalism in general is that it tends to focus on benefiting one group above everybody else. So if you're the majority group, you're the one that receives the focus, and the minority groups are all marginalized, unfortunately. But there's a different analysis that I've done on that one. But anyways, so leadership challenges within the ANC have also been a major concern. The party has been criticized for lacking a clear and united vision for the future, and for having leaders who are seen as more focused on personal gain than public service. The leadership transitions have sometimes been tumultuous and have created uncertainty. Exactly. When Jacob Zuma was forced to step down as the president, Cyril Ramaphosa came up. But it's like now, after Cyril Ramaphosa, there's no clear leaders. Like, who's going to be in charge after him? Who's going to be able to, you just don't see it. It's like he's the last guy. It feels almost like he should be the last guy to be in charge of the ANC, But anyway, so it's clear that the ability to choose a leader is not an easy thing. And it's made worse by the idea that, oh, you know what? I have a friend who's like a really good businessman. I think I'll make him in charge of a certain area within the ANC. Let's put him in charge of this and that, or let's put her in charge of this and that, and then it's like, oh, so we have some serious problems, but let's make it worse by putting in people who have no experience in this sort of leadership. We just put them in charge, Then you get another problem, which is political appointments. Now, I don't have an issue with political appointments. I think that's the only way that a political party can improve its position. I believe that. However, you can't put someone like, hey, did you go to medical school? No. Okay. Are you a nurse? No. Were you ever a nurse? No. Have you ever worked in the medical profession? Ever? No. Have you done anything in the medical industry at all? No. Okay. And in the healthcare sector, you're not been involved in any of that, right? No. Okay. We'd like you to be the Minister of Health. What? you know, it's like not only are the decisions questionable, right? It seems to be completely counterintuitive, and that's the disturbing thing for me. You know, why would you make a counterintuitive decision when you claim to be committed to a better life for everybody? That's the ANC's motto, by the way, a better life for everyone, I think. But it's something about a better life. But if that's the case, you're not living true to your motto if you're gonna decide to put someone in place simply because that person, gave you a favor. Oh, you gave me 10 grand. 10 grand is too little. Oh, you gave me 100 grand. Here you go, man. You get to be in charge of this. It's ridiculous. And it's not just at the top levels. It's even in the lower levels. It's even within provincial government. It's even within local government. People who have no idea what they're doing, but have been put in those positions. Like, oh, you're supposed to be an accountant. We need an accountant to be in charge of this unit in human settlements or in finance or in wherever. You're gonna run a team of accountants, and are you an accountant? No. Okay. The job requires you to at least know a little bit about accounting. Do you know anything about accounting? No. Okay, you are perfect for the job. What? Are you kidding me, man? We live in a wild society, where it's so blatant. You're not even gonna give this person a fake degree. You're just gonna be like, nah, that person gets to be the president. That's wild. You know what? I didn't take note of the time. What are we looking at on time? Okay, we're coming up on 27 minutes or 28 minutes or whatever. But anyways, so yeah, the next part is the last one is loss of electoral support, which is, I don't know, ChatGPT. Are you sure about this? It says here, over the years, the ANC's electoral support has waned. While the party still maintains a significant majority, its share of the vote has been decreasing, reflecting growing discontent among voters. This trend suggests that the ANC may be losing its dominance, which could lead to a shift in the political landscape of South Africa. So, okay, I think ChatGPT is kind of right about that. If you look right now, even, if you go and watch the news, I've been keeping track of it on the news. The ANC is still the dominant force in terms of the national elections, which is sad, to be honest. I think that there's, I almost want to say that there's, something afoot here, something that's not right. Like fixing votes and, which is not outside of the realm of possibility, right? But I think it's also indicative of the stronghold that the ANC has over its population, over the population. I think that they just want to bring up, oh, remember Nelson Mandela? He was our guy. Vote for us, man. And and because if you're it makes a lot of sense, actually. The reason why they target the poorest of the poor when it comes to the garnering support for the ANC, the reason why they go to the poorest of the poor is because they are able to make promises that's backed up by, remember how we ended apartheid, because there's a lot of people sitting in impoverished areas who are like, who lack the opportunity even to think critically, and I don't think there's an intelligence factor to that, although studies have shown that poverty has been linked to lower IQ scores, which is very interesting and worth looking into. And maybe the ANC is taking advantage of that, but I think it's something bigger. I think that it's sort of like being in an abusive relationship, or maybe it's being held hostage, like what do they call that? Some kind of syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. That's the word. Wow, I actually got the word. That never happens, by the way. It's a bit of a rare moment for me to get the correct word I was looking for. But anyways, so It's like Stockholm syndrome, and Stockholm syndrome is where you as the hostage, as the captive, fall in love with your captor. You fall in love with the person that's holding you captive. Isn't that crazy? It is crazy. That's why it's a syndrome. But it happens, right? And I think that may be what's going on here. Is like we are the only ones that can make it better, and that's someone that's in a toxic, abusive relationship. That's what you'll be told, is that there's no one else that will take you or want you. Okay, sorry about that. We are not alone. I wish they could say that on the news, just to announce the existence of aliens. Wouldn't that be awesome? Jeez. Maybe the aliens should just come and take over. Maybe I'm sure they'll be able to run things a lot better because they've achieved space travel. You think we're gonna achieve space travel when our biggest problem is that we can't keep the lights on? When our biggest problem is that we can't open the tap and drink the tap water without getting sick? Come on. Anyways, so yeah, so what was I saying again? Oh man, I lost my train of thought now. It was a good train of thought. It was good while it lasted. But anyways, so this is what I was saying. So I think that the ANC has some really smart players in there, and I'll give it to them. I'll definitely give it to them. So far, in terms of marketing, they've done the best job. I'm no marketing expert, but I am a consumer. And if I look at the bright colors, the pomp, if I look at the widespread advertising and marketing, a clear motto that you could get behind, especially if you're down in the dumps, if you're literally living in the worst circumstances, then you could be like, you know what, I'll vote for them, right? Why? They don't have a TV. They don't know what's going on in the news. They have no idea of all the corruption scandals taking place. They hear rumors, but the ANC could just pass it off as, nah, guys, no. Those are just rumors set by our enemies. They don't want us to be in charge. They want to take over and make things worse for you, which I think is evil, honestly. It's evil to manipulate the poor man, but that's what they do, right? There was a time in Roman history, I think I've mentioned this before. There was a guy named Commodus, and Commodus was the emperor. He's the son of Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius was the best emperor that there ever was. After him, no more great emperors, right? Or maybe there was, like Julius Caesar. But anyways, I actually don't know where in the timeline it all fits. I'm not an expert on Roman history, okay? So just get off my back, all right? Commodus had a friend who Commodus kind of left in charge because Commodus had no leadership skills. He wasn't really, he got distracted by the pleasures of life. Kind of like the ANC, really. And what is this? My mind is all over the place again. Because I'm thinking about sandals. Like, wow, they didn't have any other kinds of shoes except for sandals. I wonder if they invented socks, because socks would have been really helpful, especially in the cold. Or did they just decide, nah, it's cold, guys, put on your thick sandals? I just wonder about that. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so Commodus had a friend, and his name was... I forgot his name. But anyway, he was placed as regent to be in charge of the republic, or of the empire, up until Commodus came back. Commodus never came back, by the way. He was killed. He was brutally murdered, which is kind of how it goes if you're the king. But anyways, so his friend, and the name is right there, dude. It just wants to. It's like. It doesn't want to come out. I'm like verbally constipated right now. That's a gross image, isn't it? Verbal constipation. Not to be confused with verbal diarrhea, which is what I have most of the time. Anyways, so Commodus's friend was put in charge of the place of the empire, and what he did was he suspended the food sources. He created a fake. He manufactured a fake food shortage. And what had happened was, obviously the rich, they can sort themselves out. They don't have to worry. Even though it's a concern because it makes food more expensive, but there was a food scarcity. And he profited big time from this because the rich were able to buy from him. He's like, I have extra food, guys. You can buy from me, you know? But then to the poor, this is really where he did them dirty. He was like, there's no food for you guys. You guys don't have money, and this is Commodus's fault. Then later on, so he keeps this ruse going a long time until he brings food, to the people for free, giving the poorest of the poor free stuff. And everybody's like, yes, finally, you are our savior. We love you. So he got the support of the poorest of the poor. But the rich were like, what's going on here? Why was the food so expensive? Why do you have so much? And why are you giving it away for free? Then they discover this guy created the food shortage, and they went ballistic. They told all the poor people, and the poor people pulled him apart, like physically ripped him apart. I don't mean this figuratively. Do you understand what I'm saying? They took his body and they pulled it apart, dude. You can imagine, because I'm sure a lot of people, had starvation. They have loved ones who passed away as a result of this guy's insane, evil schemes. And I think there's a big parallel here. I think we're getting to that stage now where the poorest of the poor will eventually learn the evils of the ANC, and it's not going to be a good day for them. So if they are in power this time around, if they are successful, I really hope that they do a better job. I really hope that they put people in charge who should be in charge. I really hope that they execute the amazing plans that have been developed by some of the experts. I hope that they draw in more experts to, sorry, I don't know what it is. I hope that they draw more experts together to try and solve key problems in this country. I hope that they can find a way to prioritize the biggest, most basic things. What was it? Education. That's another one that's a total failure in this country, and that's why they keep dropping the pass rate, right? Because the quality of the education is so poor that the quality, not the education itself, not the knowledge that needs to be passed down. That's of a good quality. However, the standards by which we deliver that information is another story. Poor conditions at schools, poor conditions at public schools, lack of proper teachers, lack of teachers in general. All the teachers, they want a good livelihood, so they're going to flock to the higher profile schools where they can be paid no matter what. But when you go to a government school, man, it's another story, and it's so sad. But anyways, it's what is it? Housing, healthcare, and education. So those are the three big issues that we have in this country, and I think if they win this election, can they just please bring some experts together, solve these problems, stop stealing the money for your personal benefit. This hedonistic lifestyle that people are so focused on is the wrong one. You are in public service. Serve the public, man. What are you doing? And now what's happening is you're literally making the space for opportunists to come up and say, we'll serve the public, We don't have an agenda. They do have an agenda. And now it might be an even more evil agenda than what the ANC is doing right now. They're literally responsible for economic suppression. So what happens when another party wins and takes over eventually? Then it's going to be chaos. What if the socialists win, like the EFF? What if they win? We're all going to starve to death. We're all going to starve to death. Please watch. If you're watching this episode from 18 years, 19 years, 20 years, 24 years in the future, I don't know. What am I even saying? Yeah, if you're watching this in the future, just remember my words. Is that if the EFF is in charge, or if any socialist or communist party ends up in charge, it's gonna be over for all of us. We are all going to starve to death. I promise you. It has happened in every nation that it has been tried. Without fault, there is no successful socialist or communist state unless it makes some kind of concessions when it comes to capitalism. But anyways, I don't want to go too deep into that. I wanted to share something else. What was it? Okay, so we're done with the ANC. Screw those guys. I asked ChatGPT for a couple of questions. This is the political episode, everybody. We're getting deep into it, right? So I was just curious because the ANC is a nationalist party, meaning they have the nationalism as their core ideology. So I just wanted to find out, is nationalism good for a multi-ethnic country like South Africa? And then I also said, what better alternatives would there be? So I was curious about this, right? So first they give us a nice definition. I'm just going to read the whole thing, and then we'll discuss it a little bit. It says here, nationalism is a Nationalism in a multi-ethnic country like South Africa is a complex and multifaceted issue. So I didn't even say anything about an issue. It already highlights that it's an issue. While nationalism can foster a sense of unity and shared identity, it also has the potential to exacerbate ethnic divisions and promote exclusionary practices. The impact of nationalism in such a great context largely depends on how it is defined and implemented. Okay, then they give some pros and cons. Pros: national unity. Nationalism can help create a common national identity that transcends ethnic and cultural differences, fostering a sense of belonging and collective purpose. That sounds beautiful, and it is. The second one, patriotism and civic engagement. A nationalistic sentiment can encourage citizens to engage in civic activities, support national development, and participate in democratic processes. So that's beautiful, if it works, right? Then cons. Now there's 2 pros here. It gives us 3 cons, so there's already a bit of an imbalance. Cons: ethnic tensions. We all know in South Africa we have this problem, and it's been made worse and worse and worse by certain philosophical decisions that are responsible for certain laws being passed, kind of like BEE. But anyways, it says here, ethnic tensions. In a multi-ethnic country, nationalism can lead to the marginalization of minority groups, potentially fostering resentment and conflict. And that is exactly the basis of some of the political parties that are gaining huge traction, is that, okay, we belong to a group that's being marginalized by the majority government. You guys can vote for us and we will help change things. That's literally what's happening. And it's working. It's working because of the nationalist identity has really, or the nationalist sentiment has really created this tension between different ethnic groups in our country. And it's sad. It's sad because now people's political decisions are based on race and not on administrative promises and the quality of leaders, which is, to be honest, not really that different from apartheid, in terms of making decisions based on race. So it's unfortunate, it's sad, and it's disappointing, but it's actually a problem at the core of the ANC. So it's like they actually not a good fit for this country. Besides all the nonsense that they've caught on in their time as the ruling party, they have really caused a massive issue. Anyways, let's see what else. Exclusion and discrimination. Nationalism often prioritizes a dominant group's culture, language, and interests, which can result in exclusionary policies and practices against other ethnic groups. So, in South Africa, we have a black majority, an African majority, let me say. And that's That's just how it is. It's neither good nor bad. It is how it is. And as a result of trying to repair the issues that were created during apartheid or because of apartheid, there were some laws placed, employment equity, which means that the amount of people we hire, the types of people we hire ethnically and based on gender and based on, gender and ethnicity, has to reflect the current demographic ratio of the whole nation, regardless of what their qualifications might be. That's affirmative action. That's affirmative action. And we all know what BS affirmative action is, because first of all, you're undermining the person that gets that job. That person might be fully qualified, but because they've been hired as an affirmative action hire, it becomes about that instead of about what this person is capable of doing. On the other hand, you're going to put someone in place that maybe is not capable of doing the job, but because they fit the criteria of affirmative action, then they get put in the position, which is a big problem. Okay. The other thing is that is discrimination, dude, on the basis of race and ethnicity. That's racism. I don't know what else to say. That's literally what racism is. So if you wanna tell me that apartheid is over, just think about it. Think about it. Is it over? Are we still not basing these decisions by law? By law, are we still not basing these decisions on people's skin color, people's gender? It's ridiculous. Anyways, we move on. Undermining diversity. So look, it's like we want to encourage diversity, yet the nationalist sentiment means that we undermine diversity. You see why I say I don't think the ANC is a good fit for this country either way, but keep voting for them, you idiots. Sorry, that was mean. I shouldn't have said that. I don't think that everybody that votes for the ANC is idiots. I think there are people that believe in them. I just think that the people in charge of the ANC right now are not the best fit. But anyways, undermining diversity. A strong focus on a singular national identity can undermine the rich cultural diversity of a multi-ethnic society, stifling the expression of various cultural heritages. And it is. There's people, there's groups in our country that feel it's wrong to express their cultural identity because of what their ancestors did in the past. And that's not fair. So I just think if you want to really be fair and free, discount everything. Don't include any part of people's ethnicity or gender or race or whatever you want to call it. None of those things matter. The only thing that matters is this person capable of doing this? My hiring decision should be solely based on the merits of this person's achievements. That's what it is. That's what it should be. And I believe that that's how you'll encounter true diversity. Not this manufactured nonsense. Because what happens is it creates resentment. As ChatGPT mentioned, it creates resentment. Oh, I'm not going to get out. And I used to believe this. I won't be hired for this job and that job because I'm a colored person. I'm considered colored. I don't even believe in that word. But because I'm considered a colored person in South Africa, sorry, we're not looking for coloreds right now. Like, how messed up is that? Oh, sorry, you're white. You're never going to get a job in this country. That's messed up, And what that creates is it creates companies who will be like, we only hire whites now. Hello? Sound familiar? You're going to have companies run by colored people. Oh, no, we only hire colored people because we know that black people are preferred by law in the hiring process. If you're black, a woman, and disabled, you are there. Women get preference, you get points. That's what BEE is all about. If you're black, you get a point or a couple points. If you wear glasses, you get more points. If you're a woman, ding, 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 you have the job, you know? And that's sad, because what if you're actually someone who's good at it? Now it's like you're totally undermined because of this nonsense. And I understand that it was used originally to even the odds a little bit, you know? And I think there was a time where it was needed and it was good. However, now that we are discriminating against people who are capable of doing the job simply because they belong to a certain ethnic group, come on, man. Sound familiar? Yeah, sound familiar? Let's move on. Okay, and I also asked for better alternatives to nationalism. So yeah, better alternatives. And I was surprised by the answer, to be honest, because I thought, in my brain, I thought conservatism might be a different thing. I'll explain conservatism now. Let's just get through this. How much time? Where are we on time? Whoa, that was a bit much. It's fine. We're gonna go a bit into overtime. I don't care. It's fine. You got time. Anyways, better alternatives to nationalism. Number one, civic nationalism. So that's an interesting thing because it's now no longer African nationalism, it's civic nationalism. And the definition, it emphasizes shared citizenship, democratic values, and equal rights rather than ethnic or cultural homogeneity. So that's interesting, right? That takes away all the racial issues, on a systemic level. It's awesome. I love it. And they give some benefits. It promotes inclusivity and equality, focusing on common civic values and institutions rather than ethnic identity. Like I said, the focus has been on ethnic identity in the hiring process especially, which is a huge part of everybody's lives. It affects everything. It even affects whether or not you get funding for a business. It affects whether or not if your company, if you would like some funding for your company, but your company doesn't have enough black people according to the law, or enough white people, or enough Indian people, or enough colored people, or enough women, then you will not get the funding. It's ridiculous. But okay, whatever. So civic nationalism kind of takes that away, and I love that. Here's a second one: multiculturalism. This is defined, or it recognizes and celebrates cultural diversity, encouraging the coexistence of different cultures and promoting mutual respect. Encourages the benefits encourages integration while allowing ethnic groups to maintain their cultural identities, fostering social harmony and reducing ethnic tensions. So I feel like that's maybe just a solution to the ethnic problem. It's not necessarily a better alternative. That's just what I think. I could be wrong with my genius brain, and I'm not a genius. I'm pretty much an idiot. Anyways, so let's see what else we got. Social cohesion policies. So here they're saying you could implement some policies. Policies aimed at promoting social inclusion, reducing inequalities, and encouraging interactions between different ethnic groups. Right. So that's an interesting one because it talks about that. Basically refers to employment equity, and it refers to to BEE, right? The problem is that is still a manufactured diversity, right? But here it says builds a sense of community and trust across diverse groups, enhancing national solidarity without suppressing diversity. So BEE isn't a social cohesion policy. Neither is the Employment Equity Act. Neither is the whole affirmative action culture of hiring. It's not it does not promote social cohesion. In fact, it does the total opposite. So I guess what ChatGPT is saying is that there might be a way to do this without having to feel like, or without having people feel like they're being discriminated against on the basis of their racial and ethnic identity. I love ChatGPT for this kinds of stuff. Here we go. Here's another one. Federalism and decentralization. Political structures that allow for regional autonomy and local governance, giving ethnic groups a degree of self-determination. Love that, but I don't love that actually. I don't love that at all. That's kind of making the okay. We're gonna skip that one, ChatGPT. Sorry. And then an inclusive national identity, constructing a national identity that is broad and inclusive, incorporating elements from various ethnic groups, and this strengthens national unity while respecting and integrating cultural diversity, ensuring that all groups feel represented. Yeah, I guess that's a good one. The reason why I'm not really buying all this is because I feel like conservatism is the way. However, it's showing me a lot of disadvantages when it comes to to conservatism. Um, Anyways, let's do this. So I said, would conservatism benefit the country? And then it says the potential benefits and drawbacks of conservatism in a multi-ethnic country like South Africa depend on the specific principles and policies that the conservative approach would emphasize. Conservatism as a political ideology often focuses on preserving traditional values, maintaining social stability, promoting individual responsibility, and that's why I love conservatism, because of the individual responsibility part, and fostering economic policies that support free markets, which is also what I appreciate, and limited government intervention, which is a big one. Ding 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 ding. Okay, I think this is maybe too much to go into, but I'll just go a bit faster. All right. Potential benefits of conservatism. Potential benefits: economic stability and growth. The free market policies a conservative government would be able to implement can advocate for free markets, deregulation, and reduced government intervention. This can create a more business-friendly environment, attract foreign investment, and stimulate economic growth. That seems pretty beautiful to me. Then fiscal responsibility, emphasizing balanced budgets and reducing public debt can lead to long-term economic stability, because our public debt is out of control. Okay, I'll give you that much. And then promotes social stability, the preservation of cultural values. Conservatism often emphasizes the preservation of cultural and societal values. In South Africa, this could mean promoting family values, community cohesion, and respect for cultural traditions. When last did you hear anything of that sort from the government? You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think conservatism is perfect for this country, but I think one day we might be able to have a conservative government that would really help our country prosper in a huge way. And then law and order. A conservative focus on law and order can help address crime and enhance public safety, which are significant concerns in South Africa. Yeah, crime is a nightmare in this country. Individual responsibility. Promoting individual responsibility and self-reliance can empower citizens to take charge of their own lives and reduce dependency on government assistance. That's a big one, eh? What a dream killer it is to be like, nah, I'll just get money from the government. I don't need to work. I'll get money from the government. Oh, if I have a child, I get more money. Great. I'm gonna get a child. If I have more children, I get more money. Awesome. I'm gonna have more children. Where do I live? In a shack. I live in terrible circumstances. I don't have running water. I don't have a functioning toilet. But I'll get more money if I have more kids. I'll get more money if I'm disabled. Where's the encouragement to rely on yourself? Where's the encouragement to say, you know what, I'm not going to allow these horrible circumstances to get in the way of me achieving my dreams? Because so many people have actually achieved success as a result. So that's something worth thinking about. All right, but here's drawbacks, and we must mention them. We must mention the drawbacks because there are drawbacks to everything, and it's also just to be fair. Social inequality, limited social programs. Conservative policies often prioritize reducing government spending on social programs. In a country with significant socio-economic disparities like South Africa, this could exacerbate poverty and inequality, affecting marginalized communities the most. So there's that's a big one. That's such a fair point, welfare reduction. Reducing welfare and social assistance could negatively impact the most vulnerable populations, particularly in a country with a high unemployment rate. See, that's fair. That's what I'm saying. It's not for this time. Resistance to change. Slow progress on social issues. Conservatism's emphasis on traditional values and gradual change might slow progress on important social issues such as gender equality, LGBTQ plus rights, and racial reconciliation. Well, I mean that's a I do think that certain conservative governments do actually disregard those specific issues. But I think in a country like South Africa, where we come from, we might not need to deal with that as an issue, but rather encourage, the importance of those rights and, regarding race and sexuality and gender expression and all that things. Anyways, status quo bias. Conservatism's focus on maintaining the status quo may hinder necessary reforms and innovations needed to address the unique challenges facing South Africa. That's a very good point. I love this. Let's see. Cultural homogeneity. An overly conservative approach might prioritize the values and interests of dominant groups, potentially marginalizing minority communities and exacerbating ethnic tensions. You see, so that's also a problem with the ethnic tensions issue. Lack of inclusivity. Oh, that's a big one. Conservatism might not adequately address the needs and aspirations of a diverse population, leading to feelings of exclusion and disenfranchisement among various ethnic groups. See, so yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. There is more, but yeah. So the rest of it is basically just how we would be able to implement a conservative, political approach without having to drop off, to lose any of the, the beauty of it. But yeah, I think where we're sitting now, we are, getting over an hour now. But yeah, so I think I'll end the episode there. So the political episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not into politics. That's why I had to do all this, because it's not ever on my mind, and I'm just trying to think more critically about the decisions we make as a population in a very complicated country. I don't think any one solution is the solution. I think that everything needs to be discussed before it's implemented. That's why we have a parliament. That's why we have a functioning democracy. However, our democracy is being taken advantage of in a big way. And because such a large percentage of our population is impoverished without any access to the right information so that they can make their own decisions, it still leaves a big weakness in the opposition parties, who might be well intentioned, which I also doubt. Let me just be honest. I think if you want to become the president of anything, you are an absolute psycho. You are an absolute psycho. You're a megalomaniac. You're egocentric. You have a complex for sure. There must be some screws loose. I definitely think so. Because it's even I'm just gonna leave it there. That's why I'm mistrusting of all these leaders, of all these political parties, because while there might be a good agenda, there's definitely a bad agenda as well. There's definitely one that is that's selfish, that's egocentric, that promotes power, and power is a dangerous thing. Same like money. If you give the wrong person money, it's gonna go really badly. If you give the wrong person power, it's gonna go even worse. So we have to be careful, guys. I think that maybe the system of government we have is not good. I think there should be a process of hiring when it comes to candidates. I think the candidates that meet the requirements, I think the requirements should be based on merit, should be based on experience, should be based on qualification maybe. But more importantly, it should be based on the fact that that person did not choose to be there. They were nominated. You know what I mean? And it would be better to find people who don't want this job, to give them this job. Because that's going to be someone who's going to do a really good job. But anyways, I have to go. I need to go and spin myself in the washing machine now. Yay!